I want to take you back to a time when Halloween was pure magic, the 70s and 80s. You know, being a grandpa now, these memories are crystal clear, and trust me, it was nothing like what kids experience today. Picture this. You're sitting in class, watching that clock tick slower than ever because you know what's waiting at home, your costume. But here's the thing, Mom always had other plans. Dinner first, she'd say, while you're practically bouncing off the walls waiting for dusk to fall. The neighborhood parties were something else. We'd do this ridiculous thing called bobbing for apples. Imagine dunking your face in water while wearing those flimsy plastic masks or grease paint makeup. Looking back, it was totally absurd, but man, did we have fun. Once darkness finally fell, that's when the real magic happened. We'd hit the streets like tiny sugar-seeking missiles, running from house to house, block after block. The energy was incredible. Somehow, our little legs never got tired. And get this, we actually knew the people behind those doors. There was something so special about standing there, hearts pounding, while neighbors tried to guess who was behind the costume. The treats? Oh boy, nothing like today's fun-size stuff. We're talking homemade popcorn balls, caramel apples that someone's mom spent hours making, and full-size candy bars. Can you imagine getting homemade treats nowadays? Times have changed. The decorations were simple but spectacular. No fancy animatronics or pre-programmed light shows, just good old-fashioned creativity. Bedsheet ghosts swaying in the trees, jack-o'-lanterns with flickering candles inside, and those classic plastic skeletons and witches that somehow managed to be genuinely spooky. The best part, being allowed to stay out past 9 p.m. on a school night. That was huge. You'd run into your friends, compare your candy haul, show off your costumes, and feel like you owned the night. Kids of all ages roamed freely, the air was crisp with autumn, and everything felt possible. This wasn't just trick-or-treating. It was an adventure. A community celebration, a night when the rules bent just enough to let magic slip through. That's the Halloween I remember, and let me tell you, it was absolutely unforgettable. Looking back now, those nights were more than just about candy and costumes. They were about freedom, imagination, and a sense of community that seems harder to find these days. That was the real Halloween, and those of us who experienced it, we were the lucky ones. And let me tell you about the haunted houses. The crazy dark maze you had to walk through, with spooks and goblins everywhere waiting to jump out and scare the pants off of you. They would scream, we would scream, our mom would scream. What a glorious night. Back in the 70s and 80s, Halloween was absolutely epic. You know what made it so special? The haunted houses, man, those weren't just attractions. They were like rites of passage that every kid dreamed about. I remember counting down the years until I was old enough to go through one. The anticipation would build up as October rolled around, and you'd hear whispers about which house on the block was going all out that year. There was always that one family, right? They'd start setting up weeks in advance, and every year, their display got bigger and more elaborate than the last. Picture this. You're walking down a typical suburban street, but then you spot it, that one house that's completely transformed. The front yard's crawling with zombies. And there's this ancient-looking coffin where a vampire would suddenly sit up and let out this bone-chilling howl that would echo through the neighborhood. Ghosts and bats would sweep through the air between trees, creating this eerie dance above your head, and you couldn't miss the witch, cackling away next to her steaming cauldron, her laugh sending shivers down your spine. Let me tell you about this one time when I was 10. It's still vivid in my memory. This house had this amazing wraparound porch, but to get to the candy, you had to navigate through what felt like the scariest maze ever created. The atmosphere was perfect. Spooky music playing in the background, wolf howls echoing through the night, and these mysterious hands that would suddenly reach out from behind curtains when you least expected it. But here's the thing. No matter how scared you were, that bowl of candy at the end was like a beacon of hope. So there I was, inching my way forward when I spotted this massive beast-like figure sitting right next to the candy bowl. My heart was pounding, but I kept telling myself, just a few more steps. Then, just as I reached for the candy, this thing springs to life, roaring and flailing its arms. I'm pretty sure I set a new neighborhood record for the fastest sprint back to the street where my mom was waiting. "Did you get scared?" she asked, trying to hide her smile. And what did I say? "No way, I knew it was fake." Meanwhile, my heart was racing like a jackhammer. But that was the unwritten rule. You never admitted being scared because if you did, you might not get to go to the next haunted house. Trust me, you didn't want to miss out on any of them. And then you had to dare all of your friends to go through there, and you would run to the other side to wait to see them freak out, just like you did. Only now you get to laugh at them and tell them they are big chickens. Those haunted houses weren't just Halloween attractions. They were adventures, memories in the making, and honestly, they were probably some of the best times of our lives. Sure, they terrified us, but that was exactly why we loved them so much. And you dreamed about when you could be one of the people who helped scare other people in the haunted house. Man, those were the days. Let me tell you about the most incredible Halloween party experience from my childhood that still gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. You know those magical moments that just stick with you forever? This was definitely one of them. My best friend Dave had his birthday just before Halloween, and man, did his family know how to throw a party. Forget your typical birthday decorations. This place was transformed into a haunted mansion straight out of a spooky movie. Picture this. Fake spider webs stretching across every corner, ghosts floating from the ceiling, creepy witches cackling in the shadows, and even Frankenstein's monster lurking in the darkness. It was like getting a sneak preview of Halloween, and we all got to test drive our costumes before the big night. We even had cake and ice cream. But the decorations, that was just the beginning. The games we played were absolutely next level. There was this twisted version of pin the tail on the donkey, except it was pin the arm on the zombie, which, trust me, is way cooler. And then there was this absolutely diabolical game of tag where we'd sneak up and plant fake spiders on people's shoulders. The real fun was watching them discover it, especially if you managed to get it tangled in some poor girl's hair. I know we were terrible kids, but come on. It was Halloween in the 70s and 80s. We were just a bunch of fun-loving friends doing our best to scare the heck out of each other. Now here's where things got really intense. The highlight of the night was always the ghost story session. Picture this, all of us huddled together on the floor in a tight circle, every light in the house turned off except for one measly flashlight held by Dave's older brother, Conrad the Destroyer. This guy knew how to tell a story, let me tell you. He'd start this tale about a lone man walking through the woods, discovering this creepy old barn, hearing these bone-chilling voices saying, "I'm going to catch you and eat you." And just when the tension was at its peak, when we were all practically holding our breath, Dave's cousin Branson would leap into the middle of our circle, screaming his lungs out. I swear the collective shriek from all of us kids could have woken the dead. We'd scatter like startled cats, running in every direction, hearts pounding, half terrified and half thrilled. But here's the kicker. Just when we thought it was over, when our nerves were already shot, they'd announce, "Time for a walk to the cemetery." Because apparently, scaring us half to death inside wasn't enough. We had to take this horror show on the road and play the great game of I Dare You, which consisted of making each other go in and walk around the headstones before running like willfire to get back out of the cemetery, because all of your friends are yelling to hurry up and run, it's about to get you. Monster, look out, monster. Looking back now, I can't help but laugh at how perfectly crafted this whole experience was. It wasn't just a birthday party, it was a masterclass in childhood Halloween magic that I'll never forget. Halloween back in the 70s and 80s? Oh man, those were the days that made childhood absolutely magical. Back in a time when Halloween was more than just a holiday, it was an adventure that we lived for. Trick or Treat was seriously the most amazing game, with real prizes for those who were truly dedicated to the night. Picture this. You're standing there with either a pillowcase snatched from your mom's linen closet or one of those iconic plastic pumpkin pails. Your mission? To collect as much candy as humanly possible. And let me tell you, we weren't messing around. We'd come home with our bags bursting with treasures that would make any dentist nervous. The candy selection back then? It was something else entirely. We had these crazy wax lips. Yeah, you heard that right. Actual wax lips that you could eat. They tasted exactly like you'd expect wax to taste, with maybe a hint of cherry if you used your imagination, but we absolutely loved them. Then there were pixie sticks, those paper straws filled with pure sugar that would make us bounce off the walls. Gobstoppers that lived up to their name, sweet tarts that made your face pucker, and those amazing licorice whips. And oh boy, if someone gave you a full-size chocolate bar, that house immediately became legendary in the neighborhood. But the real magic happened when we got home. We'd dump our entire haul right in the middle of the living room floor, this massive mountain of candy that looked like it could feed an army of sugar-hungry kids for months. Then came the sorting ritual, the eat right now pile, the save for later stack, and the trading material collection. This was serious business, folks. We'd negotiate with our siblings like tiny candy brokers, trading Snickers for Milky Ways, making deals that would make Wall Street proud. And let's not forget the parent tax, that unwritten rule where mom or dad, whoever braved the cold October night walking you around the neighborhood, got to pick a few pieces from your stash. but we didn't mind. They were our bodyguards against those neighborhood bullies who might try to snatch our precious loot. Plus, we had to keep them happy if we wanted an escort for next year's adventure. The perfect end to every Halloween night, sprawling out in front of the TV to watch It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, still wearing our costumes because we refused to take them off. We'd stuff our faces with candy until our stomachs hurt, but did we care? Not one bit. Those sugar-induced stomach aches were badges of honor. These weren't just Halloween celebrations. They were magical moments that would become some of the most precious memories of our childhood. Simple times, when happiness could be measured in pieces of candy and the excitement of becoming someone else for one special night. You weren't just a kid in a Spider-Man costume. You were Spider-Man inside of a kid. Man, those were the days. You know what? Sometimes, I catch myself wishing kids today could experience Halloween exactly the way we did back then. There was just something special about those autumn nights in the 70s and 80s that can never quite be replicated. But I guess that's what makes those memories so precious. They're perfectly preserved in time. Just like those wax lips we used to love so much.